Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 203 of Crunch Time with the N326 Duo. I'm your host today, Sam Godsey. With me today, as always, is Tanner Dizzin. Tanner, how you feeling?
Well, I guess I'm feeling about as good as I can with Sam Darnold being a Super Bowl champion just 1 year after quarterbacking the Minnesota Vikings to a 14-3 record. And a year ago today, or not, a year ago on the podcast, I came in here talked about how bad Darnold was in games that mattered and how good he was for the Seahawks in game that mattered. But yeah, it's NFL season's over. Can't believe it. Felt just like yesterday when we were getting on here talking about the college football season and the NFL season. But here we are again. NFL season is over, and now all eyes turn to college basketball. Put together a pretty good showing on Saturday, might I add.
Yeah, absolutely. We're gonna focus kick off with a little bit of Super Bowl, talk some college ball. You know how it is. So let's just hop right into it, man. And a little bit of a snooze fest. For the sake of the Super Bowl. The Seahawks obviously ended up winning 29-13, I believe was the final in that one.
Mhm.
Um Absolute snooze fest, 12-0 at half. But kind of the storyline you kind of briefly mentioned on it was the turnaround of
Yep.
Sam Darnold. Obviously has a very unique path, going from getting drafted to the Jets, that being an absolute terrible situation, bounces around, goes to Carolina, um, does all right there, accepts a backup role in San Francisco, moves on to Minnesota, uh, does pretty damn well, then gets on the Seahawks. I mean, is that kind of the greatest like story arc of an athlete we've seen?
It's one of the better redemption stories, and with football. I'm sure there are other positions out there that have something similar, but no one's going to get the shine of quarterback,
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
And it's one of the better turnarounds, redemption stories, whatever you want to call it, storylines for a quarterback we've seen in a long time, if ever. You mentioned, I mean, obviously the Jets. What can you say there? He went to Carolina, as you mentioned, and to add a little context, like I think he may have gotten hurt, started behind Baker because they had both of them in Carolina,
Yeah,
and then Baker got hurt, and then he ended up playing, and I think he played like the last eight weeks, and he went like they were of course already eliminated at that point, but I think he went like 5-3 maybe or six.
yeah,
He played good football for the Panthers. Of course, the team was just bad, and they decided to move on, like you said, gets right in San Francisco, has a great year in Minnesota, and then now wins Super Bowl at Seattle. Um, this is one where you look at this game, obviously, Sam Darnold was not the reason
yeah,
Seattle won this game. He was good. He was good. He was New England's a very good defense, and multiple times when New England got penetration, Darnold was able to avoid disaster, get out, and dump it off to a running back and turn what was a negative play for the Patriots because Drake May was not able to do that for the Seahawks. It was like a 5 or 6 yard gain and kept in front of the chains and kept the ball moving. So he was good in this game, but I just Sam Darnold gets a lot of the headlines, deservedly so. They do not make the Super Bowl if it's not for Sam Darnold because
yeah,
he
one
played a
hundred percent.
perfect game in the NFC Championship game, which we talked about last week or 2 weeks ago. But obviously, we want to talk about this Seattle defense.
Yeah, they were absolutely incredible. Will McDonald executed the perfect
Mike McDonald.
Mike McDonald, excuse me. What it was a absolute masterclass. We obviously hear about a lot of head coaches entering their head coaching role and they kind of take over the offense. So this is a rare case where the head coach takes over the defensive roles, and he schemed up a perfect. Drake May was not comfortable at all. He had three turnovers in this one, a lost fumble, a pick six, and another interception. Um, the fact this guy was even in consideration for MVP is absurd. Like, if you go back, he didn't really wow. I mean, he had the game against Baltimore where he threw for three, but like in my opinion, he was never just like, oh my God, this dude is unreal. I always thought there were better out there. Um, and he got at, I don't know if it was just the amount of pressure, he just looked terrible in this one. And is a big
Yeah,
reason why this New England um offense basically didn't score. They got a couple points late in the
yeah,
game, but
yeah. I want to talk about Drake May because the overreaction meter is going crazy. He was not good the entire playoffs. They played tremendous
true,
defenses this entire
true.
playoffs. The difference about Seattle is they're not one of the best defenses. They are the best
Yeah,
defense. And the difference about Seattle is they didn't have your CJ Stroud in that game quarterbacking him. They didn't have Jared Stidham quarterbacking them. They had Sam Darnold, who is a professional quarterback, and he was able to get the ball out, keep the ball moving, and the offense is just better than the offenses that New England played. If I were to redo, like knowing what I know now, taking positional stuff, I probably would have had Drake May probably third in NFL MVP behind Stafford. I think they got that right.
yeah,
And then I probably would have had Jackson Smith and Jigba ahead
yeah.
of him because his season was just bonkers.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but in fairness to Drake May, I feel like this game was just total offensive failure by the Patriots.
Yeah,
Their wide receivers were nowhere to be found. The offensive line had a rough day guarding that or protecting against that Seattle defensive line, which is obviously one of the best in football. I don't think the play calling. I don't think Josh McDaniels had a great day. The Patriots offensive coordinator. I just think it was total offensive failure. I still think Drake May is a good young quarterback, but he was not good in the playoffs, and it leaves a sour taste in your mouth when one of the promising young quarterbacks who, obviously was and who ended up being in second in MVP and just really did not play well in the playoffs. But
yeah,
I still think he's going to be a good NFL quarterback. He's 20 some odd years old. The schedule is going to get a lot harder, so it's going
yeah.
to be
I
interesting
was
to
just
see.
about to bring that point up. He had a very
Yes,
favorable
yes, he
schedule
did.
this year.
No, there is no if, ands, or buts or doubts about that. He had a very favorable schedule. The Patriots had a very favorable schedule. This is where the rubber meets the road now because you're not surprising anyone anymore.
Yeah,
They know you got a good defense. They know Drake May can play, and now you're playing a division winner schedule. Next year is going to be interesting.
yeah,
Very interesting.
yeah, absolutely. But honestly, this Super Bowl was not great. But you
Yeah.
mentioned this guy, kind of the only bright spot for both offenses was Kenneth Walker.
Yes.
He was named MVP on 27 carries for 135 yards.
We were going to say,
Did he deserve it?
it's funny. I was about to say, um, I was happy they gave it to him. I think he did because just watching that game, there was no doubt in my mind the best player, the person who played the best was Kenneth Walker. He was their offense. I think an argument can be made for a defensive player. I don't know who that would be. It's as opposed to like just from I don't have the stats in front of me. Just from what I was watching, it just seemed like a total defensive effort.
Yeah,
An argument can be made for a defensive player. The best unit in the game was the defense. But I'm kind of happy they didn't. I know sometimes I feel like in the MVP they either just default to the quarterback or give it to someone who like didn't do a ton but had a big play. Like if they gave it to like
Yeah.
AJ Barner because he scored the first touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm happy they didn't do that. I'm happy they didn't default to Darnold, even though Darnold was good, but Kenneth Walker to me was the best player. Certainly the best offensive player. Was the best player in this game for the Seahawks. So
Yeah. Um, best player, no doubt. I do think there's another individual that might be the most valuable because without him, the Seahawks don't win this game, and that's of course kicker Jacob Jason
wanted it
Myers.
the
I
other
wanted
day.
it so
I
bad.
wanted it
Broke
bad. I
he
did.
like broke a record. He had 5 field goals in this one. That was his Super Bowl record. We obviously knew that wasn't gonna
Yeah.
happen. But it just
I guess in my answer, I didn't even entertain the thought of a kicker because I knew they
this
weren't going
just
to do it.
should like I don't know.
I'm curious though if he had his exact stat line, but instead of like 38 to 45-yard field goals, they were like 55,
Yeah,
58. I wonder if they would have done it. Probably not,
probably not.
but I wonder if they would.
Yeah, but that just kind of shows you the type of game this was.
I mean,
When the MVP
didn't
gets
score
it
a
without
touchdown.
scoring.
Yeah, and multiple times Seattle in like third and intermediate to long. When I say long, I don't mean third and 25. I mean like third and 12. Um, they just turned around, handed the ball off, and accepted the 3 points
Yeah,
because they knew New England could do nothing
exactly.
against that defense, and they just collectively said, as long as we continue to score any form of points, field goal after field goal, it doesn't matter because New England's not going to
Yeah,
score, and that's what they ended up doing. And just it took Seattle being up 19-0, a 3 possession game, for I think that was when New England scored their first point, and that one was when it was really just in F it, we need to air this
yeah,
ball out mode. And then Mac Hollins ended up making a play, and then he just scored a touchdown. But at no point did it ever feel like New England had a sliver of a chance in this game.
yeah, yeah. It really did it, and I mean, we can. The play on the field was just not Super Bowl worthy. I feel like it's
Yeah.
either a blowout or it's just ugly, and we
And this year
got
was kind of both.
yeah, it was kind of both. But like I feel like the Super Bowl itself is just kind of losing its I guess it's nostalgia coming through because like even the commercials were
Disappointing.
were disappointing. There were a couple good ones, obviously the main one uh people are liking is the Budweiser with the Eagle. That
Yep.
was pretty cool. What was the one I thought was pretty well done? I think it's Coinbase. They had it was like karaoke, and that was it. That was pretty cool. There is obviously some controversy. Live AI.
Yeah.
Um, the Ring camera is
Yeah.
getting a lot of
Yeah.
slack right now. But I mean, I this Super Bowl kind of sucked. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie.
It was just, yeah. Obviously, there's a major part of the Super Bowl we haven't talked about yet.
Yeah, Bad Bunny.
Bad Bunny.
Yeah, I mean, would it have been my first choice? No, but I I just want to quote Big Cat here, Barstool Big Cat. I think he nailed it. On part of my take today, he said it wasn't for me. Um, and someone responded and said, "Don't you think that the halftime of the Super Bowl should be exactly for someone like you? You're legit one of the biggest football fans in the world." And Big Cat, I think this is kind of how I feel about it, to be honest. No, that's exactly my point. I'm gonna watch the Super Bowl regardless. I don't give an F about the halftime show. The halftime show is for people who don't normally watch football and new audiences.
Yeah, no, that's it. It's what I preferred someone where I can understand their lyrics. Yeah, um, was did I like the beat? Yeah, kind of.
Yeah,
Did I like the production
the
value of it?
visuals.
And stuff?
Yeah,
Yeah, I kind of did.
yeah,
Did I like the fact that did I like the message with like we're all America
yeah,
and like God bless all of the countries of America?
yeah,
Yeah, I did. So
yeah,
like sure. That's fine. Did I like, a bunch of people dancing and having a good time? Yeah, I did. So like
yeah,
that's it. It was would I have chose it? No. Did I think it was great? No. Did I think it was bad? No.
yeah.
Like
I think if you think it's one of the worst halftime shows, that's not the case. I don't think it's the best halftime show. This was strictly to get a more international.
yeah.
And I think
Well,
they nailed it. I thought it was a vibe. I don't know. I mean, Twitter was absolute gold.
yeah, it was. It was.
After or
Great stuff.
X, the everything app, of
Yep.
course.
It's all happening on
I
X.
mean, for not understanding a single word he said, I thought it was pretty
Yeah.
sweet.
Yeah. To be honest, if you came up to me and you said you're not gonna understand a single word from the halftime show, I would have been like, it's gonna suck. And I didn't think it sucked. So in that and of itself is
Yeah.
gotta be a
And
win.
honestly, the worst part, the part I didn't like
Yeah.
was a part I understood with Lady Gaga because that was just weird. But um, and we're just not even gonna touch the other halftime show because that's crazy that that was even a thing to begin with. But anything else on the Super Bowl?
Funny enough, there is someone else I want to shout because I legitimately think one of the best players on the field played for the Patriots, and he had a tremendous game, and he's not going to get a lot of shine because his team didn't end up
Yeah,
winning.
I think I know where you're going with this.
But the player, of course, I'm talking about is Christian
Yep.
Gonzalez. I couldn't think of his first name there for a
Yeah.
second, but Christian Gonzalez played a tremendous game, multiple big time pass
Let's
deflections.
let's put it how it is. He clamped
He,
Jackson
he
Smith.
kind of did. He kind of did.
Jackson Smith, um, he was by far and away the best receiver in the NFL, and he had what 4 receptions, 45 yards. Obviously, went out for a little bit with an injury, but Christian Gonzalez clamped him up.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Christian Gonzalez was tremendous in this game, and people are gonna forget about it because they
Yeah,
lost. But he was great,
yeah,
and
good shout.
even just in general, I thought the Patriots defense was good as a unit.
Yeah,
It's just
a lot
the
of
offense
people.
couldn't do
Yeah,
anything.
yeah. I can relate to that, Patriots fans. But
Yep,
should we talk some college ball,
I
man?
think we should because this was
This weekend was incredible, Tanner. I think we got to start with one of the most historic rivalries in all of sports. UNC pulling off a stunner in Chapel Hill against Duke, 71-68. UNC trailed by as many as 13, but all came down to Seth Trimble hitting a corner 3 pointer. I mean, this game was freaking unreal.
I mean, it's everything you want as a neutral college basketball fan. Growing up, Duke versus North Carolina, and I would even say it's obviously the Coach K versus Roy Williams. Now that
Yeah.
they're gone, there's questions about the whether or not the rivalry is still there. This was my favorite rivalry in sports. You've said it multiple times. I'm just more of a college sports fan in general. And I preferred this one. The only other one that would come close was Ohio State, Michigan. But this to me was the one. Just the nature of a basketball. Everything's so close and Cameron Indoor.
Yeah.
And I just love it. The story names, the crazy moments, and Hansbrough getting his nose broken, and Austin Rivers with the buzzer beater. Anyway, I could talk about that rivalry for a long time because it means a lot to me because it is just it was the game. It was the game um, I would mark on your calendar to watch. And I can't lie that it lost a little bit of luster after Coach K. Obviously, the ending of Coach K's career was a particular high point in the rivalry, but then after the Shire, the Hubert Davis, it just didn't hit the same. We might be all the way. We
Yeah.
might be all the way back with the level of hatred because of everything after.
Shire's such a dweeb. He is filling that Duke villain role so well.
And you know what? And I am so damn happy he
Yeah.
is.
Oh
And
yeah.
you'll be hard pressed to find a college basketball fan that isn't happy.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, UNC stormed the court, but and Shire got pissed. We'll dive into that a little bit, but I kind of want to remind people of I want to say 2 years ago, Wake Forest, shout out to Demon Deeks, rushed the floor after
Mm-hmm.
beating
Duke.
Duke. We all saw the historical meme of Kyle Filipowski crying because
He was blatantly and viciously assaulted.
yeah. Well, the story returns on Saturday night. UNC rushes the floor, a double court storming because there were zero point 0.4
Mm-hmm.
seconds left. But Shire was heated, telling the media, I got staff members that got punched in the face. Let's roll.
Yeah.
Should we roll the tape?
We should.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys enjoy it?
Yep. Yeah.
We just showed you every instance of UNC fans
yes,
punching
correct.
Duke players in the face.
Correct.
Or Duke coaches in the face.
He did backtrack on Monday when we are recording, said the a staff member was had a bloody lip and was disheveled because he was trampled and caught up under fans, not targeted with a punch. So my question here, Tanner, is did Shire overreact in the heat of the moment to deflect from a heartbreaking loss, or is he just a baby back?
Yeah, he absolutely did. When you have a heartbreaking loss like that, and then something happens, he did the classic thing where he's like, "I don't want to make this all about the court storming, but," and then didn't say another word about the game, and yep. Said all about the court storming. Is the sentiment of his statements correct? Yeah, if fans want to storm the court, which I am a huge, massive proponent of, I believe.
We've done it.
We've done it. One of the highlights of my time in college, did it on the football field and on the basketball court. It is tremendous. I love it. I just completely lost my train of thought. But if you are going to rush the court, there is a certain etiquette. Everything you do needs to be celebratory of your team and allow the opposing team to get off the court.
Yep.
That goes without saying. That obviously needs to happen, and students need to behave better when they storm the
100%.
But it is funny to me that every single time Duke loses a basketball game, the conversation is always about something other than the basketball game.
Yeah.
Coach K would do it, and then I was scared for our players' safety because a 7-foot, 220-pound NBA talent is afraid of a 5'6" math major. For some reason. The conversation for Coach K was when Duke would lose, it suddenly was about more than basketball because he was raising young men. And when in reality, it's like, dude, you got outplayed. Your team got outplayed. You got out coached. Shut the hell up. And it's just every time that happens. And here we are again. Not a word was said about the game because Duke absolutely choked.
Yep.
And and in the conversation, John Shire, like I saw there was a water bottle thrown. That's unacceptable.
Yeah.
You can't throw water bottles at the opposing team. And yeah, I think whoever did that should be identified via video and punished accordingly. But at the same time, I am undeniably and vehemently pro court storming. It is one of the most fun things you can do as a college student celebrating a huge win for your team. And people who are against it are losers, are hate fun, and especially people, the police of storming a court, whether a win was big enough to storm a court.
Yeah.
Now, of course, if a team beats my team and it's the court, it's immediately their Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And, of course,
100%.
obviously it's all to fit a narrative. But at the end of the day, college kids are the ones that storm. College kids are looking for any excuse to have fun,
Yeah.
yell, hoot, holler, dance, get on a field or a court that the players play on. And you're just not going to stop them from doing it. And it's one of the most fun things about college sports. How security teams are still getting surprised by it is beyond me. How opposing teams don't have a plan like this,
Yeah.
especially when you're Duke, who you're the biggest game on just about all of your opponent's schedule. I don't know how that's not better. But at the end of the day, court storming has been around college sports forever. These instances are starting to spike. I don't know if it's social media, if we're just catching more of them now because of the videos. But at the end of the day, court storming is awesome. It's one of the best parts about college basketball. You need to behave better if you storm the court. But how we don't have a well-oiled machine on getting players off the court and security that can delay them for literally 5 seconds is all they need to just get in the locker room.
The best thing is
It's beyond
the fact this happened. Now, I assume, did this happen on the first section of the court storming or the second? I'm not sure. I would assume the second because they were going off the floor, right?
I would assume the second too. Now, everything I just said, actually, the thing with how are we not getting off the court sooner? This one might be a little unique in the fact that if it was the first one, obviously not going to get off the court right away. There's a chance we can have more time.
Mm-hmm.
But this one could be unique in that. But yeah, like you knew they were going to storm the court. It's obvious. It's like I hate it. I hate the negative that the court storming is getting because it is so fun. It is so awesome. It is one of the best things about college sports. And if you disagree, you don't like college sports, you like pro sports, and you just say you like college sports. That's it.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that was kind of the headliner of this past week. There were a lot of upsets this week. Let's rewind in time a little bit. Michigan State. We're gonna go back to Wednesday because that's when the dominoes started to fall. Tanner, Michigan State losing to Minnesota, BYU losing to Oklahoma State, and of course the headliner, Portland, the true David versus Goliath, beat the Zags. First win since 2014, never beaten an AP top 10 team.
It's a dreadful loss. It's one of the worst losses you'll have. It's not taking Gonzaga seriously for the rest of the year. I don't think they can win a national championship. And it's literally all because of this loss.
And like, while it is a 7-point win for Portland, I mean, I want to shout out their star, freshman point guard Joel Foxwell, 27 points, 8 assists. Portland hopped out to a 10-point lead early in this one, 15-5, led basically the entire game except 32 seconds. Like,
wire to wire.
This isn't your typical last second heave.
Yeah, they controlled the game.
They controlled the game. This is almost no, it is a season defining loss for this Gonzaga team because when you take a look at the bracket, you're going to look at it and be like, oh, yeah, remember that time back in February? It's a quadrant 3 loss.
Yeah, like, that's insane. It's bad a loss you'll see. It's as bad a loss you'll see. That's simple, plain, simply put.
Yeah. but so that was obviously the headliner on Wednesday. We come around to
He
Friday.
had a good one on Friday.
Dan Hurley versus Patino, a battle for the ages. St. John's extends their winning streak to 9 games with an 81-72 over
And I
UConn.
believe that's winning streak 3 straight against UConn.
Yeah. Snapped UConn's 18-game winning streak.
It was awesome, dude. This was the Garden was rocking.
Does this make does St. John's kind of enter into that Cinderella realm of thing, that dark horse
They're
team?
playing good ball. They're playing good ball. It's hard for me to call them. They can make a run at this. A run would be to like the Elite Eight.
Yeah.
I don't see them as the Final Four team. I don't think they have enough, especially just around like last year. I remember with a couple teams, I was like, man, like the Big East. This year, I don't think the Big East is just. I don't think they're that good at
Yeah.
all. It's a down year for Creighton. St.
Yeah.
John's,
Very down
obviously,
here.
yeah. St. John's is worse this year than they were last year, I would say. So I think that, and then obviously UConn's UConn, but like there's no other supporting cast in the Big East. So Marquette is another team that's had some pretty good teams, not really much
Yeah.
this year. So I'm not as high on the Big East this year. So because of that, I don't see them as a true national title contender. I don't think they'll make the Final Four, but I think they can run at this
Yeah.
Elite Eight thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was Friday. Obviously, talked about that UNC Duke game, which was electric. Um, then come Saturday, we had Tennessee lose to a confusing Kentucky team. Michigan State beating Illinois in OT 85-82. Obviously, coming off that tough loss against Minnesota. That Houston BYU game was incredible. I mean, Saturday was unreal, Tanner.
Yep, yep. You mentioned some of the big ones. A couple teams are really finding their footing, and they were teams that we kind of maybe had conversations about. Obviously, St. John's is one of them. The two that I wanted to mention are Kansas. I mean, not that beating Utah is that big of a win, but they're playing great basketball right now.
Big one tonight.
Yes,
Massive
big one tonight.
tonight.
We're recording this on Monday. They welcome in Arizona to the Allen Fieldhouse. So we'll see how that is. They've been really good at home in particular as well. Obviously, remember that BYU game. Florida is a big one. They're really finding their footing in conference play now. And then Kentucky is another one who's starting to play.
Yeah.
Starting to play better. So a couple teams that we may have incorrectly jumped the gun too early. They're starting to find their footing. Obviously Kentucky had the big win against Arkansas, now Tennessee. But some of the big games, Michigan State, Illinois, tremendous basketball game.
Yeah.
I mean, Big Ten heavyweights. I think Illinois is really good.
Yes.
Really good. They I don't think we talked about. They played Nebraska this week, and they beat Nebraska in Lincoln earlier in the week. They go to Michigan State, and a cold Michigan State really needed the win, gave them all they could in overtime. Do we need to have a conversation about a certain point guard who may or may not be a little bit like Grayson Allen?
Yeah. Is it Jeremiah? Is it Jeremy?
Jeremy.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Jeremiah.
Yeah.
So it's funny you said that, but yeah, Jeremy Fears.
Yeah.
He's had an incident against Michigan, an incident against Minnesota, game they lost.
Yeah.
And then now an incident against Illinois.
Yeah. Crazy. I do respect. Got tip the cap to Izzo. He said he thought about suspending him, and then he realized he's playing Illinois.
It's funny. I thought about donating my entire net worth to charity, but then I didn't.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hashtag thank you for considering it.
Yeah.
he said he considered it.
No, you
Yeah, he
stop
definitely did.
lying. But yeah, that whole story. I mean, we're getting villains left and right, and I cannot. I mean, we have him, we have Shire, we got Darren Peterson, who we touched on
Yep.
last week. That just is a bizarre story, and one of the
Starting
bigger
to play a little more.
playing a little
I'll be
more,
very interested to see his minutes
absolutely
tonight.
hooping. But that leads me to one of the best stories in college basketball, the Arizona Wildcats. In the the toughest conference, the Big 12, currently undefeated as I'm saying this statement. That might be a different story here in a couple hours. Um, this team is unreal, man. They got Koa Pete, who on dang near any other team is probably their best player.
Mm-hmm.
But Brain Burries, they have three freshmen just absolutely um, dominating right now. And usually like early in the year we see like these freshman teams come out a little rough, not they've been dominant from the jump, and you can say, oh, they haven't played anybody. Take a look at they started out with reigning champions, obviously not the same team, beat them. They beat 15 UCLA, beat UConn, beat Auburn, beat Bama, and then inner conference play. They've taken care of BYU already. But my God, they have an absolute gauntlet
Yes,
coming
they
up.
do.
KU tonight, Saturday, Texas Tech, next Wednesday, BYU. Uh, then the following Saturday, Houston, Baylor. They got some hoopers. They got two projected lottery picks in Carr and Ubasuf. Then,
I mean, Baylor went to Hilton on Saturday and gave Iowa State all
yeah,
they could handle.
yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, KU and Iowa State, and then Colorado at the end of the year. But that's an
That's a
absolute
gauntlet.
gauntlet.
That's a gauntlet.
Absolute gauntlet. But I have a hard time believing they're gonna go the perfect season, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to have a perfect season, but I mean, they're clearly really good. Barring barring disaster down that stretch,
Yeah.
it's very difficult to see Arizona and Michigan not being the top two seeds
Yeah.
in March Madness. Obviously, maybe we're discounting Houston a little bit. Who had a great week. Another game we should mention. I mean, marching into Provo, beating
Yeah.
beating BYU, um, is is no easy task. BYU obviously slipping a little bit. But it's a really good win in the Big 12. Another year where Houston, I mean, maybe it's just because within the Big 12, Iowa State had the big win against Purdue. Arizona is the best team in basketball or in college basketball. Um, like maybe it's just because of that, Houston doesn't really have that as big a win as Iowa State or hasn't been as consistent as Arizona. That's why we just haven't talked about them. But as we sit here today, as we're talking on February 9th, they're ranked number 3 in the
Yeah.
country, and they're continued to be one of the best teams in basketball. Their two losses being Texas Tech, Texas Tech on the road. That's a game we mentioned, and Tennessee by 3 to
Yeah.
Tennessee, and Texas Tech by 4. So
Yeah. Lot of good college ball. And we're just gonna keep this train rolling this Saturday. Some absolute bangers. We got Clemson, Duke, we got Kansas, Iowa State, Kentucky, Florida, Texas Tech, Arizona coming up this weekend. Then yeah, that's kind of where the big dogs in the fight, but obviously any game can be sneaky good. But college basketball is here. We welcome all the football fans. I'm not gonna lie, y'all have been missing an awesome college basketball season, but you're
yeah,
tuning in
one of
for
the
a
to be
great
honest
time.
with you, one some of the most fun I've had watching college basketball in a few years.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, I always love college basketball. I love watching college basketball, but
Yep.
this year in particular has been really fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolute blast. I do want to talk one thing before we close out the episode, and that of course is our guy, Bennett Sturts.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Was
Yep.
absolutely hooping on Sunday. Little show before the Super Bowl 36
Yeah.
and a very efficient 36 points at that. Shot okay, come on, CBS Sports. All right. It's just scroll of that.
Yeah. I mean, look, he was unbelievable against Northwestern. He's been really good
Yeah,
in the past
he's been
couple
hooping.
weeks. Yeah. There were a few.
I got some bookmark tweets.
Bring him up because
So over his last 36 points, 2 assists, 2 steals, 22 points, 5 assists, 1 steal, 32 points, 7 assists, 2 steals, 20 points, 2 assists, 3 steals, 20 points, 5 assists, 2 steals, 27 points, 5 assists. Big Ten play, averaging 23 points, 4 assists, 1.3 steals, shooting 51% from field, 40% from three.
yeah, he's been really
Absolute
good.
stud.
He had been really
Absolute
good.
stud.
Early on in the season, there was a few struggles against good teams, and obviously there were some things that, like, he has been really good
Yeah.
down the stretch. And I mean, obviously the big one for Iowa on Saturday.
Yeah. Against
So
Purdue.
against Purdue, so need him to continue that level of play, and hopefully
Tough little
I
stretch for our Hawks
I
coming up, but
Iowa's had a little bit of a tough. They've looked better on the road this year for some reason. Gotten off to really slow starts at home against obviously USC. They were down a lot.
yeah.
Ended up righting that ship and then almost chucking it away again. Um, Illinois, really bad start.
Yeah.
Almost came back. Didn't quite have enough. Purdue, I think, was a bad. Or no, Purdue was they were leading in the first half, but that was a road game. Yeah, it's perplexing how they've gotten off to such bad starts at home, but they definitely need to get off to a better start against Purdue. And by the way, as we're talking about St. John's and their turnaround, they are currently down 3-2 Xavier
Yeah.
at home. With
College basketball at its
with
finest
with
right there.
10 minutes left in the second half. By the way, this will be a huge win for us. Iowa has already beaten Xavier this year.
Yeah.
Would be a nice quad one win to get to Xavier to bump up our resume.
Yeah. Anything else? Charles Bediako, no longer a college
Yes.
trooper. That was announced a couple hours ago, but
Did you see Auburn was rather
oh, I'm sure.
they were I mean it really wasn't. It was just G League dropout.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, well, I imagine if you're a basketball player that would get to you.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's
Iowa
now
State did the same thing with James Nanji for Baylor.
the Baylor guy.
By the way, bad. Not good at basketball.
Yeah, it's
Believe it or not, the guys that don't succeed in the G League just aren't really that good.
And I mean, players are getting paid like, I mean, not as much as professionals, but they're getting paid now. And there's just
you can get a bag for sure.
And with COVID years and that's still floating around in ages of people, and like talent's as good as it's ever been. And if you can't make it in the G League, it's not like you're going to come down to college and just dog walk people, because there's talents, like
There's
I
some
said,
dogs
as good as it has ever been.
Yeah, absolutely. But anything else? College basketball?
No, I think that's all we wanted to cover. I mean, it's one of the best sports we have, nightly basis, good games, upset possibilities. I'm just ready for March, man.
Lock in, baby.
I'm ready for March.
It's the grind to the end, but that's gonna wrap it up for episode 203. Talked about, of course, the snooze fest that was the Super Bowl, and then hopped on the hardwood with some college basketball. Talked about the highs and the lows of that, and yeah, that's basically all we talked about in this episode. You can follow the podcast at crunchtime_pod on X, Instagram, and YouTube as well, and TikTok. Make sure to comment, like, subscribe, hit that bell on YouTube. Crunch time with the N3262, but the clock has run out. This one, we'll see you on the next one on Crunch Time.
I'll see you.